Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first video of the Doofus Bob channel. I is Doofus Bob. Why Doofus Bob? I don't know. It's just a nickname we had when we were kids. So this is the first video of what I hope is many videos on this channel. There's going to be some Star Wars stuff, Star Trek, fantasy, Lord of the Rings, whatever I feel like talking about or doing or reviewing. This first maybe 15 videos will be terrain building. So you see behind me, what we have is a spaceport. We got the Star Wars Rebels Ghost. We've got the Mandalorian Razor Crest. We've got an A-Wing, a Y-Wing, an E-Wing, an X-Wing. Some Phantom Menace and Clone Wars era starships back there. I'll do a little zoom in here. So I'm going to make this channel to show how I built this. Now this video is actually a remake of the original first. And one of the things I want you to get from this series is don't be afraid to make mistakes. So the first two videos, right now there's about 10 of them that are already made. And one of the mistakes I made was I made 10 videos and then went back and decided to create a channel and upload these videos. Well, the first two were corrupted and they got ruined. So now I have to remake it. But it kind of worked out because instead of showing you a drawing or just sitting here talking about how I want this spaceport to look, this is after about 10 videos. So now you can kind of see what it is I'm going for. I'm going to get the camera here and kind of make a nice little video that goes all the way around this table here. And we got some polystyrene foam over here. We've got some figures. We got the ships. We'll show you about, I'm going to show you where I got some of these terrain tiles here. I've got some little resin figures that I found on Amazon. There's other things here that are off of eBay. So this channel is going to be, I think it's going to be mostly Star Wars. It might be some other stuff. You know, there's some, I think Daredevil Reborn, or Born Again, sorry, just came out. I got a friend of mine who's written some books on sci-fi books. We'll do some book reviews with him. And maybe we'll do some episode reviews of various TV shows. We're going to make fun of some stuff now. Okay, so don't get offended. Or you might get offended, but that happens. So for now, let's talk about this. So here's what prompted this. I've been watching some terrain videos for quite a while, whether they're Warhammer, Lord of the Rings. People were making some tabletop terrain settings for Star Wars Legion and games like that. What I wanted to do is I realized I have this all these Star Wars ships. So I've been collecting Star Wars Hasbro stuff and other things for 40 years now. And you can't see. I'm not going to show you the entire man cave here. This is about 800 square feet of Star Wars stuff here. I can't show everything because some of the pictures are with celebrities. And some of those pictures have not just myself, but friends of mine with those celebrities. They give me permission, I'll be happy to show it to you. Got some with Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher over here. So I've been a Star Wars fan for quite some time. Well, I had all these starships, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Because I saw somebody building a terrain tabletop setup. I've seen model trains and stuff like that, and I saw one video where this guy, he was in the airport, so he built this really awesome airport, and he spent years on it. So I thought, well, I've got all these starships, why don't I build a spaceport? So if you're familiar with Star Wars, which is hopefully why you're even watching this video, one thing is, it's not an Imperial spaceport. and it's not necessarily a rebel one. Well, let's just say it's a neutral faction. And I thought about this for quite a few years before I finally decided to do this. And then I thought, somebody suggested, well, why don't you make a series of YouTube videos about it while you're doing it? And so that's what I did. Now, as I said, what you're seeing is after about, I think, the first 10 videos. But here in a minute, I will break all this down, pause the video, of course, and then I'll go get the styrofoam and we'll talk about polystyrene, extruded, compressed, and heat formed and all that stuff. And I'll show you roughly how we got started, how it was painted, how it was cut, all that good stuff, and kind of show you the process. What I really want you to take away from this is the mistakes I make. It's okay. I don't care about mistakes. That's how you learn. Okay. Do not fall into the folly of perfection or seeking perfection, because you'll never be happy. I have friends. I have people that I work with. I knew a great mechanic who he was just such a perfectionist that he had his own business, but he didn't last. He only lasted about 10, 15 years because he was constantly perfection, and end up alienating all his customers. Same thing here. I'm not going for perfection. I already see some mistakes here. There's some scratches here and some other stuff, and here's one mistake. There's two tables here. These are 6 by 30-inch tables, two of them. And when I put them down, and I bought them from a local hardware store, this table here, when you unfold it, isn't completely flat. So it looks like there's a bit of a rise there. Looking at the table, I can't really fix it. Just gonna run with it. This is for me. I'm not selling any of this stuff. I'm not trying to make money off of this. This is a hobby that I've just been wanting to do, and I'm gonna show you how I do it. There's plenty of other tutorials out there on terrain building that I suggest you check out. They're all pretty awesome stuff. Videos. Definitely, I suggest you check out the Terrain Tutor with, I believe his first name is Mel. I've watched a lot of his videos. I mean, that guy is just brilliant. And I hope he's doing well right now. So, the goal here was to have a setting where I could display my starships from Star Wars. I don't think there's anything else on here besides Star Wars in a cool way. So these the smaller ships were just on shelves. You can see some shelves in that direction over there, and that's fine. That's how I've had them for probably I think I've been in this house 15 years, so that's how it's been. But putting them all together and like get a snapshot, like frozen in time. You've got, I'll zoom in here in a moment, but we've got all the figures doing stuff. I tried to put some funny stuff in here too. You'll see Grogu sitting somewhere getting in the way from the Mandalorian, and you'll see some droids doing some stuff, and probably it's not done. No, it's not. It's nowhere near done. We've still got some painting to do. We got some terrain tiles we need to put down. We'll talk about that. I think that's video 7 or 8. To give you an idea, this is what now, March 2025. I actually started filming these videos in October of 2024. Found out in December that they got corrupted, the first two. So now I have to remake them. And you know what? That's okay. Because looking back at the part of the video that did survive, that was my first video. It was done with my iPhone. It was, I didn't have a microphone or anything. And my editor, who is actually my nephew, said, "Hey, this is a crappy video. We need to step it up a little bit." So you're gonna see I got a better camera right now, and it's got a microphone on there. It's 4K, 60 foot frames per second output. And so these first two videos are going to be a little bit better quality than videos 3 through 10, maybe. But again, it doesn't matter. If you don't like the quality, the audio, and all that, that's fine. That's just how I filmed it. It's okay. What I want you to get from the videos is what I'm building and some of the ideas I have for what it is I'm trying to do. So okay, I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to kind of do a once around, kind of zoom in on some stuff, give you an idea of the goal of what we're trying to do and the end product, and then I'm going to have to break all this down. It just comes apart, and I'll probably film part of where I'm taking it apart, the ships. That's one thing I will mention. None of this is actually glued down. Even the second level over there is not glued down. It's all modular, because that way I can break it down and take it somewhere. If it's all stuck together, there's no way I can get this up the stairs and out the house. And once I build something, I like the idea that I can move it around. Okay? All right. So let's get some close-up video and maybe a few shots, and then I will break it down and go get the phone. Oh, we lost the droid. He'll be fine. And we'll go from there. Okay, everybody. So here we go. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm holding my camera and try to get a good close-up of some of the ships and stuff. We've got a Jedi fighter down there. We've got Luke and his X-Wing. That's actually a 1978 Hasbro and I think a 1980 Bespin Luke. Those are actually mine that I've had for years now. This is an E-Wing. We'll do an unboxing video of that. Oddly, it did not come with a pilot, but it did come with this droid, which I thought that was an interesting choice. There's another Jedi fighter down there. Okay, walkway here. I'll show you where we got some of those barricades. Here's the Rebels Ghost. Okay. Trying to, and like I said, this is, I'm not a professional YouTube video maker here, so just play along. There's a droid that fell while I was talking earlier. This was a crowd-funded ship on Hasbro's HasLab. I'm sure at the next Star Wars convention this thing's going to be crazy expensive. It wasn't cheap to begin with. We got a couple of droids here. I think that's more of a medical droid, but right now he's over there. So now we got the walkway here. We've got Din Djarin talking to an Ugnaught. We've got a Loth cat there. He's just hanging out. Here's a Razor Crest. There's Grogu up there, bothering a droid that's trying to work. There's the Razor Crest there. There's some stuff in there, hanging in there. Carbonite bounties in Carbonite. Okay. Let's just go around here. We got this guy who's working on the Razor Crest. Okay, we've got an A-Wing here with the pilot talking to, I believe that's a Wookiee. That might be Chewbacca from the comics, but I'm just using him as a Wookiee here. Somebody else working there. The droid from the remake of New Hope. He was in the beginning there. There's an old R2-D2 and a BB-8. I just got this one here recently. Is a Y-Wing. It's Power of the Force, I think, is that series. Okay. We've got another starfighter in there. And down in here, under the second level, eventually, it's going to be like a mechanic shop. We're going to have more figures and stuff in there, maybe tools and whatnot. As far as LED lighting goes, we'll do something like that too. Maybe in a separate video series. For now, I'm just building this like it is. Okay, now here's a bit of foam, the styrofoam that hasn't been covered or painted yet in any way. And that's going to be where the marketplace is. That's actually, I think, Captain Tarples. I'm just using him as a store vendor. There's Watto. There's a Transition. I think that's Bosk. That's another one of my old figures. I've got 8 or 9 old figures from the 80s here from when I was a little kid. Found this guy in a bag at a collectible toy store for, I think, $1.99. So, there you go. That's kind of what we want to do. It's a spaceport. On this second level here, we'll put some terrain tiles, kind of make it look like a hangar deck. And then this part here, you can hear that. That's rough. I'll show you how we made that tarmac looking substance there. Looks pretty cool. How we did the tape, and then if you look, let me see. Here's a good one right here. This I also found online, and I will put I paid for this. It wasn't much. I think it was $1 or $2, just sort of a download. It's a Word document, print it out on paper, and then glue it down. It's just I thought it looked like a cool little landing pad. There's a larger one underneath the Razor Crest, and underneath the E-wing as well. So there we go. Now, some people are going to be like, the motion of the camera and all that. Yeah. First video here. I know it's a remake and I did 10 others, but those, I stuck the iPhone on a tripod and I left it there. This is a much larger camera. It's a bit better suited. And let's see how this one goes. I can go ahead and show you. So that background there, that's a fat head. You can always find those. It's a decal, but I just have it pinned up. I did decal it on. I did put it on there once, and I just pinned it up after that. I think I can swipe over here and not violate any YouTube rules. There's some more of the collection there. There's an assault ship. Let me walk this way. The Torrent Fighter, one of the walkers, another Arc 170 fighter down there. That's the one that was from the cartoon. More figures there, and then we'll come over here. Ignore some trash. Everything's a work in progress, really. Now this will be another project right here. This is it's a gun rack, and I always want to put up all my Star Wars guns. So another project will be to make like a Star Wars panel using Greebles. If you don't know what Greebles are little metal things that you find, shapes and whatnot. You put them together. It's how they made the Star Wars panels in the movies. All that stuff was just junk they found laying around, right? And if you put it in the right way, it looks pretty cool. It looks like a sci-fi panel for a starship. We're going to surround this piece with something like that. So that'll be another series of videos. All right, we're back. We do a little cutaway here. You'll see that all the Hasbro starships are gone. All the figures, everything. And what we have now is a piece of polystyrene. Now this is what they call the pink stuff, right? This is what you're going to insulate in, garages and your walls and whatnot. Insulation for buildings. So polystyrene is actually a polymer. Okay, you take styrene and then you attach it to another styrene and then another one, hence the poly. So it's polystyrene. This is extruded polystyrene. You might be familiar with this stuff, styrofoam. Still styrene. However, this is expanded. So essentially, if you ever get up close and look at it, you'll see looks like a bunch of little beady bits in here. Those are just little balls of styrene. And what they do is they compress it together. So they they'll take it and they'll pour it, whole bucket into a mold, and then they'll compress it and maybe add some heat. And it comes into whatever shape they need for whatever product they're putting in a box and keeping it secure. So that's expanded. This is extruded, okay? And it's much denser. And this is why a lot of terrain builders and tabletop people are using this. It's a great base. You can layer it and cut it, and it's a bit more difficult to cut. It's just using a hot wire. So to make the base of the spaceport, I bought 4 4x8 sheets, and then I just measured them to the width of the table, and then I just got a utility knife, and I just went down, cut it, and snapped it, and then I felt like the 2 pieces were a little too long, so then I cut them again. As I said earlier, I want this to be modular. Okay, I want to be able to take it apart and move it. And now I didn't video myself taking this apart, but really, like I said, nothing was glued down. I just got some Ziploc bags, put all the figures in there, and then I got all the other little bits, and I moved all the starships to just shelves around here. Done. It took about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes maybe. If you're gonna make yourself a display, I suppose if you got a barn somewhere or a giant family room or an attic or somewhere, and you're going to build something that's never going to move, then by all means, glue everything down, make it one giant 4x8 piece. You can actually get them in larger pieces. You have to order it from somewhere, and then delivery is going to be a pain in the butt. Transporting a 10x10 sheet of polystyrene is, you're going to pay a lot of money for that. So most people just go down to the local hardware store and buy the 4x8 sheets. And the ones down the street from me, they actually come in smaller sizes too. So it's not the cheapest product though. It's since it's really shot up in price. A lot of people were doing home projects, and the factories just weren't making as much. But just like everything else, the prices went up and they stayed up. So for the base, I use the polystyrene. Okay, you can cut it with a utility knife, X-Acto knife. You can use a hot wire cutter. I'll show the hot wire cutter in one of my later videos. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this piece and that piece, and just you decide how big whatever you're making is going to be. So I went with just pretty much cover from the table edge to the far edge to the width to this right here in the middle. This is 2 tables done. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna paint this. You have to seal it. So if I went and got some spray paint and I just start spray painting this, you're gonna find craters. You're literally gonna start dissolving the polystyrene. It's not the paint. It's not the glue that's doing it. It's the propellant in the spray paint. You could just get latex paint and go over it. The latex paint has a solvent in there too that evaporates. It's going to start eating away. So what we're going to do is we're going to seal this first. And one of the preferred is you can use Mod Podge. You can use Elmer's glue. Elmer's glue is a polymer. And what we'll do is we'll seal this, the entire layer, just paint over it. And I'll even do some of the sides too, just so when some of the stuff drips, let me bring this a little closer here. Okay, the lighting's not very good here, apologize for that. But but there you go. So you'll see there's some craters in there. That's not all from the cutting process. That's some of the paint and other stuff that got in there, and it ate a little bit, but I didn't care about the size too much. Now, once we get to the we'll show you how to put the tarmac on there, the lines and all that stuff. That's in a later video. At some point, we're gonna have to mess it up a little bit, maybe put some craters or some patches. Make it look like some starships landed a little too hard and had to go back and fix it. And the reason I'm bringing that up now, you'll see. Yep, there you go. You'll see right here, there's a gouge. It came this way. Okay, now this mark here and these marks over here, which are kind of hard to see. So we're gonna do, when we build the Hoth set, we're gonna try to make, like I said just a second ago, make the Imperial machine seem really huge compared to the little figures. And I think it's going to look pretty cool. And that'll be a nice thing to do, because that'll be the, this is kind of like an industrial spaceport. The next one's going to be kind of Geonosis, a desert planet with the clone battalion. And then the Hoth one will be kind of like the ice world. And that'll be fun to do with all the blues and the whites and then the rocks. And I'm really looking forward to that one. So I think that's it for this video. Cut your styrofoam to the size that you like. You can just use a utility knife, score it down, snap, done. I might do that in the next video just to show you. And we'll go from there. So in the next one, I will show you how I'm going to seal the stuff, the styrofoam. I'm going to use some paint, mix it with some glue, and we're just probably, I think we're going to end up putting about maybe 2 to 3 layers on there. Again, in this case, it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's kind of wavy or something like that, that's fine. We want it to look a bit rough. When we do the desert planet and the ice planet, even more so. Make sure it's nicely sealed, and then. But after that, if it looks a bit rough, that's okay. We want to look at like natural terrain. All right. Okay. Well, that's the end of video 1. Doofus Bob here, and I will see you in video 2 next time. May the force be with you.